Hi, my name is Leif, and I'm an addict. And I've been in recovery for 6 years. I came into the rooms when I was 19 years old, and I've been working a 12-step program ever since. A lot of recovery is taking place, however, it's only 5% of recovery taking place. 95% of people walk into the rooms never make it. They don't grasp the program, they don't really understand the program. Some hate and despise the program. Some think that the program doesn't work. But we cannot keep quiet at the fact that this epidemic is going on. It's big. People are relapsing. People are dying. People are getting divorced. People are losing jobs. A whole lot of things are happening in this world. And the main problem for all of them is drug addiction. I mean, companies are falling down. A lot of call centers are not doing too well because most of the employees are on drug addiction. A lot of families are getting broken, a lot of divorces are taking, a lot of parents are crying, losing their children to this addiction. Well, I'd like to share with you my strength and experience and hope by sharing with you what works for me, and that is the 12-step program of recovery. But let's start with the basics first. Who is an addict? Most of us don't have to think twice about this question. Let me say this once. If you use drugs over and cannot stop, and you tell yourself, this month I'm going to stop, this Sunday is my last time, this year is my last time, after I get a girlfriend I'll stop, after I find this job I'll stop, and you find yourself not being able to stop, then you're an addict, and you have an addiction problem, and you need help, and we cannot be in denial. If we want to recover, we cannot be in denial. We have to accept the fact that we are addicts, we have a problem with addiction, and drugs is consuming our life. We know our whole life and thinking was centered in drugs in one form or another. Oh, if I use tick and leave cat, if I take rocks and leave this, and if I use marijuana and not cocaine. In one form or another. If you wake up in the morning and the first thing you used to think is drugs, the last thing you think at night is drugs, you cannot sleep, you cannot do anything, you cannot even function, you cannot go to work, you cannot do your job properly, you're always late, and your life is just a big chaotic mess, then you're an addict. The getting, using, and finding ways and means to get more. We used to live and live to use. Very simply, an addict is a man or woman whose life is controlled by drugs. So if your life is controlled by drugs, if every decision you take is based on your addiction, based on drugs, and drugs are the center and the foundation of every decision, of every waking life, then you're an addict. We are people who are in the grip of a continuing progressive illness, whose ends are always the same. It always ends one way: jails, institutions, and death. Now, if you watch a lot of TV, my favorite movies used to be Scarface, Goodfellas, Casinos. You know, I used to have role models like Al Capone and things like that, and Suge Knight and Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. But if you have a look at how their life ends, it always ends the same: in jail, or in institution, or death. Forget about the fact that you can use drugs or smoke weed and drink alcohol and you'll end up successful like Snoop Dogg or Lil Wayne or any of that nonsense. It'll not end that way. You only end in death, institution, or death. No one becomes successful using drugs. No one makes it with a happy ending using drugs. It always ends the same. The brake pads are still the same. It might be a different car, but the brake pads do the same thing. Those of us who have found the program of NA do not have to think twice about this question. Who's an addict? Now, I want to say something. Maybe some of you are atheists. No problem. But in my conviction, I don't believe in coincidence. If you are watching this video right now, chances are you're an addict. Or your higher power led you to watch this video. But the reality of the matter is you're not watching this by mistake. You don't land into the rooms of NA by mistake. You don't walk into a meeting by mistake. You are there, it's not a coincidence. You are there because you're an addict and desperately within inside yourself, you need help. Who is an addict? We know the following is our experience. As addicts, we are people who use mind-altering substance, mood-changing substance, causes a problem in any area of our life. So if drugs are causing a problem in any area of your life, you are in the right place right now. Addiction is a disease that involves more than the use of drugs. Some of us believe that our addiction was present long before the first time. Now, you know, like some of us, when you were young, you used to maybe steal sugar in the cupboards. You did it once, twice, 3 times, you got away with it. The more you did it, the more it grew. Started shoplifting sweets and things like that in the shops and stealing candies, and then that grew. No one becomes a bank robber overnight. You start small. Starts by robbing people at the side, stealing handbags, and then he hijacks cars, and then he does housebreaking, and then before he knows it, he's robbing banks. Addiction works the same way. You start with cigarette, then go to marijuana, and then alcohol, and then drugs. It's a growing thing. So do not fool yourself into thinking you have this under control. My suggestion is that you stop right now and get yourself to an NA meeting, get yourself a blue book like this, start reading it, get yourself a sponsor, be honest with your sponsor, do the step work, do some service work, and find recovery and turn your life around. How long are you going to live in the mess you're living in? How long are you going to live in the pain and the misery and the suffering and the suicidal thoughts and the depression that you're living in? Aren't you tired of people being angry with you? Aren't you tired of messing up your life? Aren't you tired of going nowhere? Aren't you tired of not making a difference in your own life? Some of us believe that, like I said, most of us do not consider ourselves addicted before coming to the program. The information available to us came from misinformed people. Well, people will tell you there's nothing wrong with using drugs. It's a recreational thing. It's not a recreational thing. It's a poison designed to destroy your life. As long as we could stop using for a while, we thought we were all right. Yeah. Other people use drugs for a month, others for a day, others for a week. Not everybody uses every day, every hour. Others it's once a month, once a week, only on weekends, but it's still an addiction. No matter how often or how less you use it. As long as we could stop using for a while, we thought we were all right. You're not all right. Even if you stop for a week, even if you stop for a year, that does not mean that you're not an addict anymore. You can stop for 5 years. I know people that stop for 42 years and relapse, and they'll go right back to square one. Others for 10 years, they relapse. After the first relapse, they die. In fact, 3 weeks ago, a friend of mine got buried. From what? Drug overdose. He stopped for 4 years, but wasn't making meetings. After 4 years, he died. I know of a lady, she was sober for 2 years, got married to a pastor, and after 2 years, relapsed. The same night she relapsed, she died. Ladies and gentlemen, it is fatal. It is destructive, and it will destroy and end your life. As our addiction progressed, we thought of stopping less and less. Only in desperation did we ask ourselves, could it be the drugs? Yes, it is the drugs. We did not choose to become addicts. We suffer from a disease that expresses itself in ways that are antisocial, that makes detection, diagnosis, treatment difficult. There is no way or pill or anything you can take to stop using drugs or to cure your addiction. The only way to cure your addiction is to just stop using drugs and work a program. That's the only way possible. Our disease isolated us from people accepting we were getting, using, and finding ways. Oftentimes, an addict gets to a point where the only friends he has in his life are the people that he uses with. He doesn't have any other friends. Thus, the addiction will make you change your friend. It will make you stay away from your relatives. It will make you hate your parents. It will make you lose your job. You'll isolate yourself like I did and only stay in one room, which was my bedroom, and not want to leave, not face the world, not be man enough. You'll end up being a coward, locking himself, and all you want to do is just to use more and more drugs. And the only people you want to associate with are the people that think the same way that you do and use as much drugs as you do, because you want to console yourself about your miserable life. But there is a way out. Walk into a room, start working a program, find yourself a sponsor, get out of the denial. May God help you.